All right, in this video, we're looking at document A and the questions that go with it so that you have a better understanding of it. So here's document A. The source is an author named Nina Brooks. It comes from an article called The Impending Water Crisis in China. And the book is World's Biggest Problems, and it was published by the Arlington Institute in 2005. So this source is like your bibliography. It's your reference to where your citation to where they got the information so that you know where it came from. And then you've got a note. The note is clarifying information. So this clarification, they want to make sure you know, is that the burning of fossil fuels such as oil and coal releases carbon dioxide into the air. Scientific evidence has overwhelmingly proved that carbon dioxide emissions contribute to global warming. So what it's saying is that burning oil and burning coal contributes to pollution and global warming because carbon dioxide helps warm up the atmosphere permanently. So that can be an issue, especially when we're cutting down trees that process carbon dioxide into oxygen. So let's read document A. I made some annotations. I put them in color so that you can see them. Global warming has had an undeniable effect on the Shanghai-Tibetan Plateau, which is the source of water for the Yangtze and the Yellow Rivers. MSNBC reported in 2006 that glaciers covering China's Shanghai-Tibet Plateau are shrinking 7% a year due to global warming, and the environmental consequences may be dire. The glacier's seasonal melting keeps the rivers flowing during the dry season. But as the glaciers retreat by more and more every year, there will be less water during the dry season. In addition, the melting could cause massive flooding, followed by severe drought, and an ultimate long-term decrease in water supply that is irreplaceable. This warming has not only caused glacial retreat, but also the drying up of numerous lakes that feed the region's rivers. So, number one, according to a 2006 MSNBC report, by how much are the Shanghai-Tibet Plateau glaciers shrinking each year? And as we read in document A, that number is 7%. So they're shrinking by 7%, which doesn't sound like all that much, but that's almost 1/10 of their size every year. So that's actually pretty rapid. So what is happening to the rivers as a result of shrinking glaciers? The rivers are being fed, they're being created, but they're flooding. Because remember, if the glaciers are melting faster, those rivers are what take in the water. And if they're melting faster, then too much water is getting into the rivers. And that's going to have dire consequences down the road. In addition to shrinking glaciers, how else is global warming impacting China's fresh water supply? Well, global warming is filling up the lakes as well. That glacier melt has to go somewhere, so it's creating lakes. And it's going to end up drying up eventually. In what way is global warming driving China's water scarcity crisis? So when you think about this, glaciers are not going to rebuild over time. They're melting 7% every year. The thought is that by 2070, they're going to be almost gone. They're melting at such a rapid rate, they're going to be almost gone. So, excessive glacier melt is going to cause flooding. Eventually, the lakes are going to dry up because there won't be enough water melted in order to fill up the rivers and the lakes. It's going to be a huge issue. All right, so here's some content notes I just want you to be aware of as well. These are things that weren't really part of the document, but they're good to know and you can still use the information. So the first one is that automobiles, cars, emit or release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And China's car ownership has drastically increased over the past few decades. In 1985, there were 1.78 million car owners in China. And by 2013, that number was over 100 million. That's a significant increase in 30 years. Finding alternative sources of energy could lessen the amount of carbon dioxide emissions. But many of the other energy sources they have in China, like hydroelectric, water power, and nuclear energy, are very water intensive. I mean, the whole definition of hydroelectric is using the power of water to create electricity. So that's not going to work if they're running out of water. And nuclear power needs a lot of water to cool off the reactor and keep it from exploding. So both of those take a lot of water. Given the interconnectedness, so the way water and energy are related, there's no easy solutions to this water dilemma. What are we going to do? This is a hard one. So that's document A. You're welcome to go back and listen to me talking about it as much as you want. Remember, I will be checking document A, and document B will be done shortly.